So here we're going to take a very quick look at capacity, what that means, what that is, and what it is we'll be expected to do with it on what is today quite a stormy day. So when we have found volume so far, we found it in units like cubic centimeters. Okay, something similar we might have found it in cubic meters or cubic millimeters, but it's been some kind of measurement with this cubic thing at the end of it. But if we think about things like liquids, we tend to use different words. Okay, we don't use that terminology. And so, for example, if you're going to go and buy a bottle of juice, you tend not to talk about the 500 cubic centimeter bottle. Okay, instead you talk about 500 milliliters. And so when we're using liquid as our measuring thing, or it's the thing we're interested in, we use liters and milliliters instead of cubic centimeters and cubic meters. Okay, capacity can refer to other things, again, when we're just not using our standard units. So if we think about the football stadium, for example, we might talk about its capacity, and that would be how many people you could fill it in. So our units there would be people. And so capacity comes up in quite a lot of different places, but for our purposes, the most common place we're going to use it is when we're talking about liquid. So when we see capacity, that's what we should be thinking of. So things we need to know about liters. Okay, 1 liter is our typical unit for measuring liquid. There are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter, so similar to our meters and millimeters. So there were 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Here, there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So this prefix milli just means thousandth. If we want to convert, if we've worked it out in cubic centimeters, but we actually wanted it in milliliters, okay, let's say we've done some measuring with our ruler or measuring tape, but we know we need to fill it up with a liquid. Fortunately, 1 cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter of water. And so it stands to reason then that 1,000 cubic centimeters is equal to 1,000 milliliters, which is 1 liter. And if we want to easily convert them, we can use this little conversion chart. So if we are going from liters to milliliters, we multiply by 1,000. And if we're going from milliliters into liters, we divide by 1,000. Okay, we might want to make sure we get this copied down in our notes. So all we are going to do today here is we're going to have a look at just converting some of the following. Okay, so we're not going to look at any kind of measurements and how we can take the numbers. We're just going to look at changing it from one unit into the other. So if we want to convert these things into milliliters, so 1 liter into milliliter. Well, I'm looking at my little flow chart at the side. If I want to change liters to millimeters, I need to remember there were 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So take how many liters I've got and times it by 1,000. So 1 liter times 1,000 gives me 1,000 milliliters. Second one, okay, take how many liters I've got and multiply it by 1,000. So I've got 3 times 1,000. That's going to give me 3,000 milliliters. Third one, C, I've got 5.5 liters, so 5.5 liters, and I need to multiply that by 1,000. So 5.5 times 1,000 is going to give me 5,500 milliliters. And lastly here, 0.7 liters times 1,000, so I get 0.7 times 1,000 is going to give me 700 milliliters. So if we're not too sure on how we should be doing this, remember we can go back and have a look at our multiplying by tens, hundreds and thousands that we looked at right at the start of the year. Second one, we're going to change these into liters, so this time we're going the other way. We've got a measurement in milliliters and we've got to change it back into liters. So when I'm going to go from milliliters to liters, we need to divide by 1,000, so I've got 2,000 milliliters divided by 1,000 gives me 2 liters. The next one, I've got 3,500 milliliters that I want to change from milliliters into liters, so I need to do 3,500 divided by 1,000, and that's going to give me 3.5 liters. Okay, so again, how many thousands make 3,500? 3.5. Third one, I've got 900 millilitres divided by 1,000. So 900 divided by 1,000. Okay, so 900 is smaller than 1,000, so it's going to have to be 0.9 litres. And then 90 millilitres, well, 90 is 10 times smaller, and so my answer should come out to be 10 times smaller. And so when I do 90 divided by 1,000, I get 0.09 litres.